It's story time again, and today's story is called Last Train to Nowhere, which was written by me many years ago. Okay, goes like this. In a land of relentless drizzling rain and dark, overcast days, no one is surprised Seattle, Washington attracts horror writers from around the world. Does the dismal atmosphere play tricks on the mind as well? For many residents, the ghosts are very real indeed. A short drive to the north is the sleepy prison town of Monroe. The maximum security stockade looms like an eerie procession of lights in the night, perched as it is on a hill above the historic downtown region, a typical western Main Street still looking much like it did a century ago. It's out east of here where you find the spooks, said Tony Edwards, longtime insurance man. Take the highway up into the old neighborhood. A steep, winding road leads through a forest of towering alders and shaggy fir trees. Diminutive yew trees clustered close together block all views of the valley below, giving the whole scene a feeling of claustrophobia. The highway resolves into a dead flat run atop a mesa. To the left, a row of houses cling to the cliffs. To the right, houses sit on the edge of a dense forest that spreads into infinity. Further down the road is the country club and golf course, surrounded by stately old houses from another era. It's here that the story begins. They were a young couple from Bellevue, looking for a quiet place to raise their children, Edwards said. It wasn't long, though, before I was canceling their policy. It was the spooks. Inside the cavernous two-story house was something that couldn't rest, something that kept the family up late into the night. Was it the woman sobbing, the sound of a baby crying in the distance, or the apparition of some long-departed soul rising up through the floorboards on a schedule tight enough to set a watch by that finally did them in? Does it matter? Edwards said. I'm not a very spiritual person, but these folks were genuinely frightened by what they experienced. And it's not just in the house where such strange things go on that many locals don't like to discuss. People have seen a dark-colored object as big as a refrigerator run across a vacant field nearby, Edwards said. That's what keeps me curious. It's always seemed to run the same way, towards the woods out near the golf course. I don't think most people even know what's out there. Local history buff Emma Wright does, and she has a theory. It's the ghost of the old railroad siding. A narrow-gauge track called the Galena Index runs right through this area and disappears into the impenetrable forest. At one time, gold prospectors stopped at the old station on the way to placer traces further up in the Cascade Mountains. A village developed based around the old whistle stop, Wright said. To this day, the old track bed is still visible, and artifacts of the old village are sometimes found. Today, if anyone comes out here, people just see the old mobiles. A sprinkling of old single-wide trailers sit helter-skelter in the clearing. They are not visible from the road, however. It's like a monster. The size of the Space Needle stepped on them, Wright said. It's a strange sensation to walk across the roofs of the flattened relics, their sheet metal crinkling awkwardly in the silence. Wright's gaze regards the hulk of an old car against a nearby knoll. Cold tears from the gray pallor above ends the visit to this graveyard of crumpled structures. It's like dying is what we do best, she whispered. The end.